Have you lost a loved one? Was a loss preventable? Were there complications with your child's birth? Does your child need specialized care? Call Rufo Law Group for a free record or document review and case evaluation. Call 852-RUFO today. That's 852-7836. Or visit rufolawgroup.com.
Today's guest is fine arts photographer Taylor Reece.
Aloha everyone, thank you for joining us for our next episode of Hawaii Leads, where we interview Hawaii's leaders, entrepreneurs, affluent, dominators, and skilled. And today I have Taylor Reece, but before we start, if you are not a VIP member, please do so and text in HLVIP to 58885. That's HLVIP to 58885. You will get exclusive information on the latest and greatest of our guests and cool prizes. So make sure you join. It's absolutely free and we will not share your information with anyone else. Taylor Reece is known in Hawaii as well as all over the world, and I just want to get into how he got started, where he came from, and where we are right now in his beautiful gallery. And those of you that joined us on Facebook Live, you got to get a really sneak peek into his gallery, which we will talk about more as the interview goes along. So Taylor Reece, take it away. Where and how did you get started?
Aloha, everybody. Great to see you. I got started when I was a small child. I studied art, and through the years, I really wanted to work with dancers. So I started photographing the dancers so I could use them for sketches and paintings. Mm-hmm. And what I found was that my paintings were kind of losing a generation, and it didn't have the same impact as my photographs did. There was a lot more emotional connection, a lot more just kind of a contact with the audience that I was getting from photography that I wasn't getting from my paintings. So what I did is I stayed with photography and kind of fell in love with the hula while I was here in Hawaii, and I started photographing the hula about 40 years ago, and I never stopped. Yeah, my dad was a Pearl Harbor survivor, and he had all of these great sea stories about how wonderful the people of Hawaii were, how beautiful the women were, and how amazing the dancers were. And when I moved here, my brother was over here surfing, and I had just finished college up in Northern California. And he goes, try this out for 1 year and see how you like it. And I got here and I really loved it. I loved the people, I loved the beauty of Hawaii. But I wasn't seeing the kind of hula that I thought I wanted to be involved with or photograph, because back then it was all the Awana hula, it was for the visitors. Awana is the modern hula, and actually King Kalakaua went to Europe and brought back the minuet and music after the hula had been banned here in Hawaii for 3 years. Yeah, it was banned for more than 50 years. They didn't let them speak the language. They didn't want them to do the dance, because the ancient hula, the hula Kahiko or hula alapa, passes down the history and the culture and the mythology and all of the stories of the Hawaiian people. They didn't have a written language back then. So what they would do is the chanter would chant out the story and the dancer would act it out. Similar to, like, if you go to Europe and you see the big cathedrals, there, on the sides of the cathedrals there are enclaves where in the early days people would act out what the priest was saying because they didn't have written Bibles or whatever.
So it's very visual.
Yeah, it's a very visual kind of a language and a culture, and the dancers were responsible for sharing that story or explaining that story to the people of Hawaii. And what I understand is the men their hula was more training for like wars and military,
Warfare, and
more
you,
kind of martial arts kind of
really,
thing.
really reflects that, and I like that you brought up the martial arts because I was trained by my Sifu cousin Al DeCascos, who's the father of Mark DeCascos,
Really?
who plays Wolfat on Hawaii
Oh my
Five-O.
God, that's
But
amazing.
so for you to say that, because when I was sitting with him, he did say that if you look at the hula or any dance, you could do martial arts from it.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
and you just proved that. And also the warriors,
Right, yeah.
getting them prepared. So that's part of the Kahiko.
Yeah, that's part of the ancient hula. The modern hula, that after it was banned, that was brought back and it was done with music. And before they didn't really have, instruments or those kind of things. They had drums.
chanters.
The chanters. So I was seeing the modern hula when I got to Hawaii. And then one day I was at Iolani Palace, and Frank Hewitt, who is an amazing kumu hula, brought out his dancers, and they performed this ancient hula kahiko. And once I saw that, it was like
I was going to
chicken skin.
say chicken skin because I went to Nanapuli High School, and a lot of our May Day, a lot of the gals took ancient hula, and as soon as the music started, as soon as the ipo and then the chanter, it's like chicken skin. It's very spiritual, and the women are so well trained. I remember they were saying that they would have to go to the beach, on the beach, and do duck walks to strengthen their thighs and their calf and everything. I mean, it's actually, you have to be really fit to do this hula.
You really do. You
Yeah.
really do. And it's amazing the different body types of women that can do this stuff. And they actually are graceful while they're doing it. It's really, really amazing. That kind of got everything going for me. And I really, once I saw that, it's like that's where I knew I wanted to be and where I wanted to focus my art. So what I did is for 3 or 4 years, I went to the Bishop Museum and I studied all of the old drawings for the costumes. I studied all of the old photography that was back then or in the early or late 1800s, just to see what they were doing and how they were dressed and what kind of costumes and stuff they had. And then for years, I would go in and with Auntie Mikey Ayu or John Lake and all of these different kumu
Wow,
hulas.
that's well-known kumus here in Hawaii, yeah.
Kahai Topolinsky, all of these people, I would go in and I would sit there for their practices and I would watch them. And then I would go out and photograph them later. But I studied a lot of what they were doing, and what I found was each kumu hula had their own kind of family style.
Right, it's like their own little tribe. And
Right,
then
yeah.
and then at the same time, even though they had their own nucleus, they had this ohana
Yes.
among all kumus.
Oh yeah, they still
Yeah.
do. They
Yeah.
still do. But it's one of those things where it's like I got to see the nuances of different, not just tribes but areas. Like Hilo is different than Oahu, and their dances are different. But I got to experience all that, so I did that for 4 or 5 years, and I continued to photograph the ancient hula. One of my first images that I remember I photographed was a girl who ended up being one of my first posters. But she was dancing for Hawaiian Airlines, and she was on 4th Street Mall with the Hawaiian Airlines band, and she was dancing like an ancient hula. And I didn't use the picture. She was like looking at me and kind of yelling at me out in the audience, or it looked like she was in the picture. And I didn't use the picture because she had leather sandals on. Years later, I'm down in the dark room and I look at this picture, one of the first ones I'd ever taken of a hula dancer, and it turned out to be the same girl that was in my Hula Kahiko poster.
That is amazing.
So weird.
That's totally amazing.
Which was one of my most popular images I did. I actually had changed my major from art to graphics and advertising. My teachers figured out I was colorblind.
I was going to
in
say that.
college.
I discovered that when I was, I Googled you, of course. I want to know a lot about my guests as much as I can. But the thing is, you're colorblind and you're a fine arts photographer.
My teachers told me if I didn't change my major, I'd end up being a starving artist. So for 10 years, I worked in downtown Bishop Street in advertising and I had an agency. I used to make television commercials and print ads and all that kind of stuff. And after 10 years, I really wanted to get back into art and do my art. So I started photographing the dancers. And the Hula Kahiko girl was one of the first ones that I ran into in the mall downtown. But once I started doing that, I was able to quit my day job after 2 years and just go on and just focus only on my art, which has worked out really well for the last 35 or 40 years. I'm only 29, but
we all want to stay 29. Yeah. But in the beginning, when you decided to make this passion a business, what were some of the things you came across? I
think I was really lucky that because I did have the advertising and business experiences. In advertising, you go into somebody else's business and go, yeah, who's your competitors, what's your market, what are you doing, and you figure out how to make their business better. So because I did that for 10 years before I actually started the photography business or the art business, I had a lot of background and I had a lot of contacts for that kind of stuff. And I think that's one of the most important things for a young artist or a new artist to focus on is learn how to run a lemonade stand. It's not very difficult, but get a little bit of business background, a little bit, they have basic accounting stuff just so you don't get your taxes wrong or whatever, but there's a lot of stuff that you can do that's very simple that will help you with your art and help you get your art out there. One of the things that I have a friend, Wyland, who does whales and stuff.
Do we know Wyland?
Yeah. He's the best man at my wedding.
Another internationally renowned artist.
Yeah. But one of the things that he said is you can be the best artist in the world, you can be Rembrandt, but if nobody knows who you are,
the marketing,
you're going to be a starting artist. So you got to put yourself out there, whether you want to or not, and just show people what you have to offer, and they will figure out if they like it or not. And it's kind of one of those things where you will be successful. Yeah. The other thing is if you really love what you're doing and you have a passion for what you're doing, no matter what anybody else says, stick with it, because in your gut you're probably right. And for me, it's been longevity. It's like, how long can I do this? And I'll have people that'll come in and like competitors and those kind of things, and they'll kind of fall to the wayside after a while. And it's like, how long can you love doing what you love to do?
And eat at the same time, put a roof over your head.
Yeah. So it's kind of one of those things where, you just have to really go with your passion and what you feel, and to be able to share that with the rest of the world is really rewarding to me.
And what I found is that some people that I've talked to, they'll talk their idea to maybe a loved one or family or friends, and sometimes they are, the worst to hear back, because I interviewed Hide Sakurai. He owns 3 restaurants, Shokudo, Buho, and Bread and Butter. And when he decided to do Buho, they're like, oh, Hide. And look at where he is today.
Yeah, it's an amazing place. Everybody wants to go there.
Yeah.
I get that myself.
What are you thinking?
I'm getting it this week. I have a coconut tree that's out over the water right down the street from me. I'm trying to find a local model to just go out and do it. And Kanoe's going, no, it's not. Don't do that. And it's like, this is going to fall into the ocean in 2 days. It's not even going to be there. I need to do a photo shoot. And I'm just going crazy to find like a model out here in the neighborhood.
But who wouldn't want a model for this guy?
Well, I don't want to have somebody drive out for an hour from Honolulu to do a 15-minute photo shoot and then drive back for another hour. The pictures would be worth it, but it's kind of one of those where I really protect my dancers and my models. I have done photo shoots with Miss Hawaii's and different girls where we'll go to Sandy Beach and there'll be 200 people in a horseshoe taking vacation pictures of them.
Right.
Once that happens, I will never do that to my dancer again. It's like we'll find a nice place where they can
secluded.
Where they can just get into focus. Their space.
Now let me ask you this: as you're, taking photos of your models, is there music in the background, or is it all in, they remember the steps?
Most of the time they remember their favorite dance, and they've done it 1,000 times, so they know that. Occasionally we'll have kumuhulas or other people that will come out and chant for them.
That's great.
We have done stuff where they will bring their own music or their own stuff on recordings, but usually every dancer has their favorite song.
Right, right.
And we'll just kind of let them go and do that. I've noticed over the years that it takes them about maybe 20 minutes or so to get comfortable. And then what happens is if they get into a space where they totally forget that I'm there and they're only into their dance.
That's the golden
that's
nugget.
The magic, yeah.
That's
when
the
I
magic.
get my best pictures.
So that's really good because you let your talent do what they need to do to prepare. You're very patient with them.
Yeah.
And on direction, how much direction do you give them?
I photographed Kaiulani Carr last week, and she was Miss Aloha Hula from the Merry Monarch Festival 2 years ago. So she is an amazing, amazing hula dancer, and I would never, ever suggest how she should dance. I mean, I want her to just get into her own space and just fly.
And then you just let your eye for that perfect moment.
It took me about 3 years of doing this before I could get my timing down. I would get a lot of pictures of the back of the dancers' heads and that kind of stuff. But now, after doing this for 35 or 40 years, I can anticipate what they're going to do.
Wow.
So I can catch them.
Amazing.
Catch them when they're like coming at me.
Right.
So it's kind of one of those things where I've kind of assimilated or meshed with their dance, and I can feel or I know what they're going to do. So I just let them do it, and they are amazing.
They are amazing, and the reason that you do your photographs in sepia, which is not quite black and white, is because it is ancient hula, it is kahiko, and that gives it.
Yeah, the sepia tone makes it look like an older photograph, and I want to take people back to an earlier time. I want people, when they see the images, to know that it's not bright colors and it's not immediate, even though I might have done it last week. I want to take them back to an earlier time period and give it kind of a timeless quality. The other thing with interior designers, the beiges and the browns and the sand colors work great in Hawaii.
That's great. Anything. Oh, tell us about your project that you are helping a hotel. Tell us the hotel.
I've been working with the Grand Naniloa Hotel over in Hilo Bay for the last 2 years, and we have about 1,400 pictures in the hotel, in the lobby, and all the rooms, and the hallways, and the elevators, and the conference rooms, and everything. We've turned the Naniloa into the home of the hula, and that's what they wanted to do because the Merry Monarch Festival is over there. And it's really exciting. I mean, it's really modern, it's really beautiful, but at the same time, it kind of has an older kind of a feel because of my photography. And then it has a total hula kind of a feel. When you walk in there, you know you're in the home of the hula.
That's great. Now, was it commissioned work, or they just took what you already had existing, or you had to do special commissioned work?
I did some special things with the dancers over there because a lot of my stuff is on the sand, the white sand beaches and that. So I needed lava rock and that kind of
because
stuff.
The Big Island is known for the lava rock. Yes.
Yeah. One of the things, they don't have really a gift shop in the hotel. They have an adventure shop. You can go zip lining over waterfalls over there. They will take you, they'll hike you out to the edge of the volcano. You can get little electric bikes and go out there. They'll set you up with boat tours. So it's not like a gift shop. It's like you can go do stuff. You can paddle. They have kayaks and stand-up paddle stuff. It's just kind of a really fun place.
So how did they approach you to give your artwork to them?
They went over, and originally they were going to do my friend Wyland's whales in the hotel. And they got to Hilo and they went, you know what, this isn't Whale Town, this is Hula Town.
Maui is Whale Town.
Yeah.
Lahaina is.
Wyland's got a gallery over there, you know. So they kind of put Wyland on hold, and he's okay. He's a good guy.
You guys are good friends too.
Yeah, we are. He was the best man at my wedding. We've known each other for a million years.
That's good.
When they got over there, they saw that Hilo was totally the home of the hula.
Exactly.
And they called me up and they said, you know, we're going to change out and we want you to work with us on this. So I came in and I looked around, and it was a drywall and construction site, and I love this stuff. Because I carried lumber to redo this place for years.
And well, you know what? Since we're on the subject, let's talk about your gallery. Now, you bought this house originally in
1991.
1991, right across the beach.
Yeah.
I mean, it's amazing.
And it took, it was kind of out on a point where, you know, I figured people coming back from the Polynesian Cultural Center would have to drive by this. So we knocked out a floor, did all of this glass, and built a 25-foot high wall for a billboard.
It's amazing.
We put our murals up here. So when people drive by, it lights up at night, and they can see the hula dancers when they come by. So, and what happened is I wanted to use it as a studio because there's a dark room here and offices and all that kind of stuff. And I just really wanted to use it as a studio, but everybody kept coming up and knocking on the door and going, you know, can we come in and look around? And it's like, yeah, okay. Mr. Aloha here. It's like, yeah, sure, come on in.
I love this evolution of a regular home into a gallery. It's amazing.
Yeah, and then Kanoi came along and she goes, you know, we have to control this. She used to be a school teacher for Bruno Mars, but she was going, you know what, we have to have days and hours.
I was talking with Kim's wife, Kanoi, and she said that they travel all over the world, but there's places right here on Oahu or the neighbor islands that we never have been to. Now, I have lived here my whole life, and this is the first time I am coming to Kim Taylor Reece's gallery. And so, local people, come on down. Tell them the hours that you're here.
We're here Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday from 12 to 5, and it's really casual. Most people show up after
you
they've
have
been
to
to the
take off
beach.
your slippers, like
But you can have
family
stand up
style,
to your knees.
right?
It's very, very casual, and we just want to share it with people. We just, you know, we don't. I mean, we care, but we don't really care if they buy anything or not. It's not that big of a deal. Most of our stuff is on the internet all over the world these days. But it's nice to be able to share with people and to show them not just the images, but like the views. We get whales in the wintertime.
Yeah.
We have Sacred Falls in the back, and it's just a really, really pretty place. And if you have visitors or family that are here from the mainland, I mean, it's a great place to show
Please
them
take them down. So
you don't live in grass shacks.
yeah, I know. I think that's the misconception that some people have. But anyway, if you are watching and you don't live here in Hawaii, when you do come here, make it a point to come here. Give them your address.
It's 53866 Kamehameha Highway, and it's in Punaluu. It's right on the border of Punaluu and Hauula. It's Sacred Falls is right behind us, so Sacred Falls State Park. If you look that up on Google, they can find it.
And it's a lovely drive. So get on his website, kimtaylorreece.com, and it'll give you the directions. That's how I got here. And like I said, I've lived here my whole life. And it's gorgeous. So take the time out to come here.
Very casual and relaxing.
Right. You mentioned what was your aha moment to get to where you are today?
I think when I saw Frank Hewitt at Iolani Palace and his dancers were doing the hula kahiko, they were doing the ancient dance, and back then that was really controversial. They were telling him, you can't do this. This is like something that has been...
What time period was this?
Oh God, back in the late 70s. And then the other thing was like, he couldn't do it and I shouldn't photograph it.
Oh.
The other thing that I kind of went through was that because I'm from California, I'm Hauula, I had a different perspective of what was beautiful. I think a lot of people here are so used to the hula.
They take it for granted. I do too.
They take it for granted, yeah. And I didn't when I saw it. I thought, God, this is just the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. And what I really like is the strength and the energy and just the power of the dancers.
Right.
And that, to me, is really, really exciting to be able to work with and to share with other people. But it was kind of one of those things where I kind of had to walk on fire. I did walk on fire with the State Foundation of Culture and the Arts down in Tahiti. But no, I had to go through a lot of things so that they knew that I was okay. I was not going to make them look down and not tacky.
Right.
So I had to gain their trust.
Exactly. And you know what? I'm interviewing a lot of people here who are entrepreneurs who are originally not here. And I think the connection with the local people is very important because we do business here differently. You can't just come in and hard charge. So one of the people that I interviewed, they actually went out and gave back to the local community to get familiar with them because they're not from here. And I think that's a great way to do it because we're very familial. We're a melting pot of the Asian culture where it's very familial. And so that's important to get that connection.
Yeah. And the other thing is I've been through a couple of hurricanes here, and I know that we all take care of each other too.
Right.
And that's like a really, really critical part about being in Hawaii is to be able to take care of your neighbors and your friends and your family. And I know it's just a really, really special place. We're all really lucky to be here together.
I know you gave some really helpful tips to future entrepreneurs. Are there any last words you want to say as far as advice to people who want to, you know, even if they're not photographers like you, but just in general, what should they do if they want to get into business for themselves and be successful?
Find something that you love to do, and you'll never ever work. You'll always be on vacation. You will love every day.
And you don't mind going over hurdles and challenges.
It's worth it. It's worth it because I love what I do. I feel really, really lucky to be able to share this with the world. I mean, we do shows in Japan where 500 people a day will show up in line for weeks to look at the artwork, and we've done shows in Switzerland, and it just blows them away. And it's that, to be able to share that with other people in the world from Hawaii and the aloha and all of that is just such a special kind of
you get
feeling.
the chicken skin moment.
You know, but I'm able to do that. I get to do that. And if you find something that you love and you find something you like, no matter what anybody says, stick with it because it won't be like work. It'll be like you're on vacation every day. You're having fun.
And some entrepreneurs that I talk to, they in the beginning is kind of the hard part, but they are willing to put in the 18 hours that it takes or whatever hours. But you know what? You're so engrossed, you don't mind doing it.
I'll edit images from somebody I photographed like a couple of days ago until midnight or 1 o'clock in the morning until Kanoi's going, you know, stop, come to bed. But I love it. I just love what I do. So I feel really, really lucky to be able to do this and to, you know, to be successful at it and to be able to share it with other people.
And you have the backing of your wife Kanoi, and she does the behind the scenes. She takes care of all the business.
She is amazing. When I first met her, I had 20 years of hula dancers, and she goes, "What are you going to do with this?" And I go, "Well, I wanted to publish a book." And she goes, "You know what? I'll take care of all the phone calls. I'll take care of everybody. You just go and you edit this." And she helped me publish my first book. We've done 5 books since then.
And these are like the coffee table books,
the big coffee table
they're
books.
beautiful.
If she wouldn't have been here to just kind of take care of all of the everyday stuff, I never would have gotten that first one out. And now we've expanded off into just all kinds of different areas, hotels.
Yeah,
I mean, who would have ever
that's
thought?
amazing.
Hotel.
And tell us about your gallery. You were interviewed by Home and Gardens?
Yeah, Home and Garden. After we finished this, Home and Garden came over and they filmed it, and they ran that thing for a year on television on the mainland, and then
That's
the
amazing.
Fine Living channel picked it up and ran it for another year. And since then, we've had all kinds of different interviews and things, documentaries. We've got a documentary in Germany right now. We've got a magazine, a Home and Garden magazine from Japan. I can't read it. They came over and they go, you know, this magazine wants to do a story on the gallery, but they don't want to talk to you. They just want to see the gallery. So they did a whole thing with the gallery, but it's an interior design magazine in Japan. I can't read what they're saying, but I mean, it turned out really nice. It's really beautiful, but it's really nice to be able to share that with
internationally,
with the rest
around
of
the world.
Yeah.
And getting into the Home and Gardens, you have different products now that you have. It's not just your stills and photographs, but you've gotten into the home decor.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about that.
I think the sculptures kind of got us into it. And we do bronze sculptures, and then there's another one called a cold cast. It's more of a fiberglass, more affordable kind of a thing. And they started doing lamps, and people started getting those to go with their prints for their bed and breakfast or their hotels and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Yeah. And then once we started working with a hotel, We noticed that everybody loved the pillows
so
when they were walking away with them.
Here's the pillow.
But
So you can have that for your home, and they can find it online or come to the gallery.
yeah, and so we've kind of expanded into more interiors and that kind of things. Some of the designers here, Kini Zamora and Ari South and Olamana and those people, and we've been developing different lines of women's clothing and scarves and leggings and those kind of things.
Yeah, I saw the leggings. You only have 2 left.
I know.
You have scarves, and you even have something to hold the wine in to keep it cold,
like
cooler.
If you're good, they make good presents too. You can give them the whole cooler and the bottle of wine with a Hula dancer on it. But Kanoya's kind of taken that and expanded it out. I think because we got into the internet more than 5 years ago, and she just really kind of took off with that. So
that's great.
Our biggest thing right now isn't just the gallery, but it's distribution for the stuff all over the world.
Mm-hmm. And you've taken advantage of social media?
Yeah, we have. We're on. We have a website, and then we have Facebook and Instagram. We're not really tweeting a lot. It's like Instagram seems better because you can get pictures in there.
I think so too. I think Twitter has seen its heyday, but now it's Instagram for the younger segment, and then for that different demographics, it would be Facebook.
Yeah. I like Instagram because I can keep it under control, because Facebook is like way out there with lots of people. But my Instagram, I know where my musicians are playing. I do a lot of free album covers for a lot of the musicians, because music inspires me a lot, and I want to be able to give back to the people that have helped me in the community to get me started. And so I do a lot of album covers for the different musicians here. Right now I'm working with Taimani. We just finished a thing. I know, I love her. She
is amazing. She is creative, and the costumes that she does, the music, and she dances with her ukulele. It's amazing. Have you photographed her? Yeah, I've photographed her a couple of times. Once underwater in a pool, and then once in the ocean where everything's like crashing behind her. It's really kind of pretty. Yeah, she's and so much energy. Her vibration is amazing. I love her energy. And she's so creative. Her mind is like just killer. It's out of the box. Yeah, it really is. And another one that we just finished was Barry Flanagan in Hapa. But that was more of a hula thing, and I don't think anybody even saw it here. We did it for his Japan market, and it totally sold out. That's amazing. Yeah. So, but I mean, all the way back to Naleo and the Kapena, all these different people I've worked with, which is really kind of. I mean, that's amazing that you get to be with the local talent. Yeah, it's fun for me because I love music, and I just really love. Do you play? Do you play any instruments? No, I don't. I'll never get a and I can't sing. I'll never get a hoku award. We'll just have unless it's for album cover. I don't even know if they have. You have a camera here that you used to use of your dad's. What your camera is like an antique collection? Yeah, it's probably from 1959 or before. And that's what your first time starting to. Yeah. Photograph anything? I have a picture of my high school girlfriend with this camera. But what I liked about it was the film was really big, so everything came out really clear. And so I have that as part of the collection. We have a whole bunch of different things here. We have some Hawaiian artifacts, some old camera artifacts. Kanoi, like I said, used to be an elementary school teacher at Cocoa Head, so a lot of times we'll bring in school field trips and a lot of the art classes and photography classes from the high school. They'll come over and do field trips. And quickly before we leave, I know you had to transition from from film to digital. So tell us about that transition, because I know that was a challenge for you, and you even took a break because of it. Yeah, it wasn't just a challenge. It was almost like a psychological kind of, whoa, your whole world just changed. Yeah, for those of you that are not millennials, you remember the actual film that you put into the camera. Yeah, and the film has a different look. If you take a picture with somebody with film, they'll be in focus and the background is all kind of out of focus or soft. And in digital, everything all the way through the perspective is in focus. So
What I have to do now, well, what I did is I stopped photographing for a year and I started painting, and that's where some of my bamboo brush, like the t-shirts and the rugs and those kind of things, that comes from that period where I just stopped photographing. And then I did a show, because at the time I had a gallery down in the art district down by the Hawaii Theater. I did a show at the Bethel Gallery down there of my paintings, and it totally bombed. No, it's okay. But from that point on, it's like, okay, I better figure out this digital stuff because my genre is photography.
Exactly.
So I got into the digital cameras, and I just started working with it to make it look old again in a digital kind of an age. What's really weird is that I would scan my negatives. When I did my first 2 or 3 books, I would scan my negatives into a computer, and we put all the books together on a computer digitally. I knew Photoshop before I had a digital camera. And so I knew how to work with Photoshop, and now they've got Lightbox and Lightroom and all these other things.
They've got all kinds of stuff. Yeah.
But I knew how to do Photoshop, but the whole look of what I was putting in there was on film, and then when I went to digital, it all changed. So now, 5 years later, I'm still. You've
made peace with digital.
I've made peace with it, but I'm still struggling with it.
It's not the same.
It's not.
But do you think is it the same image that you want to portray through digital?
I can work it out with a lot of extra work to make it look that way. And you know what it is? It doesn't matter what kind of a camera you have. You can have a cardboard box disposable camera. You can have a Nikon $10,000 whatever.
Or your iPhone.
Yeah, or your
Smartphone.
iPhone. Yeah, you can do that. And I swear to God, there's enough pixels in there so you can publish a book with your iPhone. And at the same time, it's the subject.
Yes.
It's how you catch the subject. It's what you see and the way you see it. It's not the camera. You can have a cardboard box camera, and if you've got a great image or a great dancer in front of you, you're going to get an amazing picture. Or your phone.
I love that tip that you just gave us. I mean, that's very, very inspiring, and it gives us a lot of hope.
Yeah, you don't need to spend a lot of money on a big, heavy-duty camera, because what's happening now with technology, our last trip, we went from Budapest, Hungary up to Amsterdam on a river cruise, and we went through Germany and Vienna and all those kind of places. Our whole trip I shot with my iPhone, and we came back and we went to Costco and made a little book about
and
our
you're like,
trip.
This is pretty cool.
Yeah, and it worked. It really worked. But it's not the camera, it's your subject, and it's what you're photographing. And if you love flowers, or you love landscape, or you love dancers, or just beautiful women, or guys, I don't know. No, I mean, that's where the magic is. The magic is with the subject, not the camera.
Exactly. And there's rule of thirds that you have to take into consideration for movement and stuff like that. But basically, you have to have the eye. And I find that a lot of young people on Instagram and everything, they're growing up with this automatically almost. Because of technology.
Yeah, which is good, which is great. I mean, it gives them a very discerning, kind of a different perspective. And that's why I like working with the younger artists and the younger photographers.
I'm glad that you're saying that.
Because it just really, they're really innovative, and they're really willing to take risks and try different stuff, which is, I think it's great for the whole art world. It's good for all artists to see what other artists are doing.
So we got a lot of tidbits from Mr. Reece here. For those of you who want to get into business, who love the photography hobby, maybe turn it into a business. And come down to his gallery. Give us the hours again.
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, from 12 to 5. And in the wintertime, we have whales that jump up right here in front of the window. And in the back, we have the mountains and Sacred Falls, and it's just really casual. Yesterday, we had 2 little girls running through here in their princess dresses. This is a place where ballet dancers, dancers come in and like jump all over the room, and we let kids run all over. So it's a really good place.
Well, thank you so much for sharing with us, Kim. I am so grateful that you allowed us to come and know more about you and your talents and your passion and your advice, because that's what I really want to have for this show, is to share with other people that could help them on their journey of their passion. And when it comes to passion, you have to eat. So it has business in the backing, and there are challenges, but like you said, if it's a passion,
yeah, stick with it. Longevity is the key. Just if you love what you do, it will work.
all right. Well, at the end, we always shock out. And for iTunes, we say ahui ho until we meet again.
Ahui ho.
Aloha.
Aloha.
A como mai. Welcome to Kim Taylor Reece Gallery. Open Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday 12 noon to 5 p.m. Enjoy the casual setting and beautiful gallery images. Gorgeous beach views in the front and magnificent mountain view in the back. Call 808-293-2000 or visit www.kimtaylorreece.com.